Now, a fire forced several families from their homes overnight. Crews were called out to the apartment complex 3 times before they were able to locate those flames. Let's check in with Cuthbert Langley live at the scene of the Chase Cove Apartments. Was anybody hurt in this, Cuthbert?
Good morning, Amy. Thankfully, no, nobody was injured at all. And by the time firefighters were finally able to discover where the fire was coming from, they were able to quickly put it out. We're talking about this building behind me over here, the Chase Cove Apartments. And like you said, it took 3 separate calls before firefighters were able to finally figure out where the fire was originating from. Here's why. The building was recently renovated, so the fire was caught somewhere in between the new renovation and the old part of the building. So when crews first came out around 10 o'clock last night, they saw the smoke. They brought out their thermal imaging instruments, but that did not even show a fire there. So it really wasn't until about 2:30 this morning when a man called 911 when the fire finally burned through enough to where crews could figure out where it was coming from. That man called 911 after waking up coughing because all of the smoke. He urged his residents to get out. In fact, he knocked on the doors to wake them up and to bring them outside. Crews were able to quickly get the flames under control, but I spoke with the chief earlier, and he says anytime they deal with a fire in an apartment building like this, they're always worried.
Our worst fear on a building like this is that the fire travels up, the wind takes it into the roof, and then we lose the whole roof. They was able to make a stop right here in the center.
Thankfully, that was not the case. Again, you heard him say they were able to put the fire out before it spread. We do know that a total of 4 units were affected. They have pretty significant smoke damage. The Red Cross was out here on the scene for much of the morning, offering assistance out to the residents there. But again, no injuries to report, and the fire was quickly put out here in Priest Lake. Reporting live here this morning, I'm Cuthbert Langley, News Channel 5 HD.
Cuthbert, thank you for the update on that. A man wanted for a violent shooting earlier this month is now behind bars. George Ivory, there's his picture. He's charged with attempted criminal homicide. Police say he's the guy that shot Cecil Grisette 5 times during an apparent drug deal on Buchanan Street back in early May. Grisette remains in the hospital in critical condition.
A woman is behind bars this morning, charged in connection to a deadly crash that killed a high school senior. Laura Beasley facing several charges, including DUI. Investigators say the 31-year-old was under the influence when she hit another vehicle head-on on Highway 52 late Friday. The other driver, 17-year-old Nick Townsend, was rushed to the hospital but died yesterday. He was supposed to graduate from Portland High School on Saturday. Grief counseling will be offered at the school today, and a GoFundMe account has been set up for the family. Just head to newschannel5.com for details.
We now know the name of the man shot to death and left to die on the side of a road. Someone spotted Roger Fryer's body around 3:30 yesterday morning on Mount View Circle in Antioch. Investigators think that 49-year-old was actually killed somewhere else. His body then dumped in the neighborhood. If you have any information, contact Crime Stoppers at 615-74-CRIME. A 17-year-old is recovering after being shot in East Nashville. This happened around 11:30 Saturday night on South 6th Street. We're told that teen should be all right, but for some reason is not cooperating with authorities. We're told the shooter was a 19-year-old, but his name has not yet been released.
And we're learning more about the wrong-way crash that killed 2 people along I-40. Happened around 2 o'clock Saturday morning in Bellevue. Investigators say Devin Strong was driving the wrong direction when he hit James Hall's truck head-on. Both drivers were killed. Right now, it's unclear what caused Strong to drive the wrong way. Police tell us they didn't find evidence of alcohol or drugs.
A toddler is alive this morning after a quick-thinking stranger saved him from nearly drowning. It happened yesterday afternoon at the Willoughby Station neighborhood pool in Mount Juliet. Someone spotted the 3-year-old boy not moving in the water, and this woman, whose identity is still not known, pulled the child out and performed CPR immediately. She was able to revive him just as the paramedics arrived. The little boy is expected to be okay. Rescue workers say if it weren't for that woman, that boy may not have made it. It's video you have to see to believe. Firefighters rescuing a man who spent days, he claims, stuck in a storm drain. Someone at Centennial Sportsplex heard some yelling over the weekend. Started looking around. Where's that coming from? It's a guy. He's face down in the drain, in the pipe there. The man told the firefighters he entered the storm drain about a block away, and I guess the rushing water carried him along Charlotte Avenue until he wound up there at Centennial Sportsplex. It took firefighters about an hour to jackhammer him out of there.
Had to physically, with a sledgehammer, bust open about a 5-foot section of drain pipe to get him out.
It's unclear why the man got into that drain pipe in the first place. We're told he is expected to be okay.
That is just a strange story. And cleanup continues this morning after last night's powerful storms in Portland. High winds and rain knocked down trees and power lines. At one point, 1,200 people were without electricity. For many, everything happened fast.
I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do. So I just started grabbing stuff and going to the kitchen and bottles. We have antique Coke bottles and beer bottles, and they were falling off the shelf.
On College Street, power lines fell on this truck. It's unclear, though, if anybody was inside at the time. Fortunately, there haven't been any reports of any injuries, but Portland Public Works tells us they've received several reports of property damage much like that.